Junto Nakatani secures a unanimous decision win against Sebastian Hernandez in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia on the Ring 5 Night of the Samurai card. What a tremendous performance. Before we get into the fight, please hit that like button and subscribe. It really helps the channel grow. And look, I had the fight even. I had it 6 rounds to 6. I gave the first 6 to Nakatani and the last 6 to Hernandez. I've seen some cards out there that gave the 6 to Hernandez and the 10th to Nakatani. Have no problem with that. Official scores were 115, 113 twice, and then the outlier 118 to 110. That means Nakatani won 10 rounds of the fight on Nawaf Al-Mohammed's card. That's a little suspect to me, and I think there's something going on there. I suspect that was an insurance judge to preserve what was going to be the massive clash, or what is going to be the massive clash between Junto Nakatani and Naoya Inoue later next year. To say that Junto won 10 rounds is ridiculous. 115, 113, either way is a perfectly acceptable card. There certainly were very close rounds. There were certainly rounds that it was sort of like, what did you like? What did you see? But to say that Junto won 10 rounds is atrocious. Now, look, I don't want to make this about bad judging. I do think that judge should be called in. I think they need to put him in front of a TV set, and they need to replay the fight, and he needs to go round by round and justify his card. And if he doesn't do that, and he doesn't do it effectively, he should never work a high-level professional boxing match ever again. But let's get to the fight. I thought Junto looked really good in the first half of the fight. Was controlling with distance, good power punching, keeping the aggressive come-forward style of Hernandez at bay. I think if you watch the first 5 rounds of the fight, you potentially could have gone on a beer run thinking, okay, this is going to go to a decision. I'm going to go grab some beer before the main event. I don't want to hear your judgment about what time it was in the United States if you went and made a beer run. Guys got to do what they got to do when they're off on a Saturday morning. Anyway, then it was the tale of two fights. Around the end of the 6th, beginning of the 7th, I think Nakatani sort of got just a little bit tired. And I don't mean like exhausted. He wasn't, just completely depleted. But it was just enough that Hernandez was able to close the gap and start landing punches. And that come-forward, aggressive style started to pay off because he was taking a lot of shots. But then all of a sudden, he was giving more than he took. Effective body punching. A lot of it were arm punches, but that's sort of a function of that mauling style that he has. So Junto took a lot of the shots well. And then for the rest of the fight, Junto really couldn't keep him off of him. I think Hernandez had felt the power. I think Junto's power, just like his legs, just kind of went down a notch. And it was enough where Hernandez wasn't scared of him anymore. And then, I believe it was in the 10th round, or maybe the 9th, Junto comes away with a massive mouse on his right eye, and my goodness, if that had been earlier in the fight, we may have been looking at some kind of stoppage. And I mean, I don't even think he could see out of that eye by the end of the fight. It was, I won't, we've all seen worse, right? Because we're boxing fans, but in a major fight, that's up there with one of the worst eyes I've seen. So it's going to be interesting to see how that potentially affects the timing for the showdown with Naoya Inoue. If Junto Nakatani needs surgery or there's a fracture, that's going to increase recovery time. Haven't seen much out on that yet. If you've heard something, let me know in the comments. Guys, this is another example of almost fumbling the bag. Right? Almost fumbling the mega fight, the super fight, the historic Japanese fight. We've got to stop with the marinating of these fights. This would have been massive in the Tokyo Dome if both of them had fought each other tonight. They didn't need a warm-up fight. Junto didn't need a fight at 122 to settle into the weight. That's all crap. He was a champion at bantamweight, moving up a weight class. He could have immediately fought a champion. Guys do it all the time. Naoya Inoue does it. Again, we almost ended up with a, Deontay Wilder, Anthony Joshua situation. The list goes on of fights that the banana peel went in. Nakatani does have some soul searching to do. This takes just a little bit of luster off of their their big time fight coming up, but people have short memories and will forget. He got the W. He got out of there. Hopefully he's not too injured. And look, I implore, and I've said this in another video, but I'm going to say it again because I want it to be clear. I implore Turki Al-Sheikh, Eddie Hearn, all the other money people, the Japanese people behind Inoue and Junto, this fight must take place in the Tokyo Dome in Japan. I have absolutely no interest in seeing the two best Japanese fighters of their generation, and the two best. These guys are on lists for the greatest Japanese fighters of all time. I have no interest in seeing them fight in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. I just don't. This needs to be in the Tokyo Dome in front of these two great champions' own people. Okay? And Japanese people are rabid combat sports fans. I mean, hell, the national sport of Japan is sumo, and they sell out arenas. Maybe there's a better venue than the Tokyo Dome. Fine. It better be in frickin' Japan. I want to feel that electricity. There'll be casuals out there who say, well, you're going to watch it on TV. It doesn't matter. It matters. It absolutely matters. Junto does have some soul searching to do. He's got to work on his craft a little bit. Hopefully, this fight helps him. Hernandez and Inoue are obviously different fighters. He takes the shots that he took from Hernandez coming from Naoya Inoue. It's a short night. A swollen eye is going to be the least of his problems. I put him at about probably a 6-1 underdog at this point. Guys, let me know what you think in the comments. I do my absolute best to read everyone. Please like and subscribe. It sincerely helps the channel grow. My last video did 10,000 views. I am so humbled by that. I'm so appreciative to all of you who have dedicated your watching time to my videos. I'm going to do my best to keep them coming. I never thought just sitting here on my iPhone in my basement something like that could happen. Really appreciate all the help. Hit me up on Twitter at Blue Collar Boxing on X, and I will see you on the next one.